Om Vishnu Pataya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasisha Sunyabhari Pashtatade Shatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna. Without further ado, let's bring up Bhagavad Gita. 1, 2, 3. There you go, Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Okay, the devotees coming in. Okay, so let's uplift our spirits by diving in head first to the glories of the Lord, His vibhutis, how they're manifesting, how we can get some appreciation of Krishna. So this world, anything great in this world points to Krishna. Anything beautiful points to Krishna. Anything opulent points to Krishna. Yeah. So this is Vibhuti Yoga. Okay, so Mother Mangoku, you can read this text 20 place. Yeah, microphone's on.
24.
25, excuse me.
25.
25, is that the okay, there you go.
So text 25. Maharshinam Bhrigu aham giram ashmi ekam aksharam yajnanam japa yajnosmi shtihavaranam Himalayaha. Translation. O great sage, I am Bhrigu, of vibrations. I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifice, I am the chanting of the holy name, japa. And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. Purport. Brahma, the first living creature within the universe, created several suns for the propagation of various kinds of species. Among these suns, Bhrigu is the most powerful sage. Of all the transcendental vibrations, the Omkara, represent Krishna. Of all sacrifices, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Hare.
Purest representation of Krishna. Sometimes animal sacrifices are recommended, but in the sacrifice of Hare Krishna, there is no question of violence. It is the simplest and the purest. Whatever is sublime in the world is a representation of Krishna. Therefore, the Himalayas, the greatest mountains in the world, also represent him. The mountain named Meru was mentioned in a previous verse, but Meru is sometimes movable, whereas the Himalayas are never movable. Thus the Himalayas are greater than Meru.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Yeah, we mentioned that. Meru sometimes gets used. Is used as a churning rod. Okay, so any curiosities here? We're all engaged in this sacrifice, hopefully. Japa yagna. This is the simplest form of sacrifice. Yagnanam japo yagno shmi. Couldn't get easier. And even so, and that we struggle with. So, the easy sacrifice. Well, a lot of devotees coming in. Excuse me, just letting 3 or 4 devotees coming in. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. And we mentioned Bhrigu Muni, isn't it, recently? Mother Chandravali told that story. Was that in the Bhagavad Gita reading or another reading?
Yes. Was it not yesterday?
Yeah, I think he came up yesterday. Bhrigu Muni. He was testing the divinity, the highest divinity, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, or Lord Vishnu. So that is Bhrigu Muni. So he's a born of Lord Brahma. So very powerful sage. Okay. All right. And unless there's any curiosities here, we can continue reading. Okay, Mother Cherry, you have your hand up.
Yeah.
Please go ahead and read. You can read.
Thank you.
6. Hare Krishna.
10:26. Asvattha sarva vrikshanam devarchinam cha narada Gandharvanam Citraratha Siddhanam Kapilo Muni. Of all trees, I am the banyan tree, and of the sages among the demigods, I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Citraratha, and among perfect beings, I am the sage Kapila. Purport. The banyan tree, Ashwatha, is one of the highest and most beautiful trees, and people in India often worship it as one of their daily morning rituals. Amongst the demigods, they all worship Narada, who is considered the greatest devotee in the universe. Thus, he is the representation of Krishna as a devotee. The Gandharva planet is filled with entities who sing beautifully, and among them, the best singer is Citraratha. Amongst the perfect living entities, Kapila, the son of Devahuti, is a representative of Krishna. He is considered an incarnation of Krishna, and his
Oh. Excuse me, Mother Cherry. You have to unmute yourself. I accidentally muted you. I was trying to mute someone. Sorry, carry on.
Okay. Shall I start from the beginning of the purport?
No, just from where you just pick up.
Okay. The Gandharva planet is filled with entities who sing beautifully, and among them, the best singer is Citraratha. Amongst the perfect living entities, Kapila, the son of Devahuti, is a representative of Krishna. He is considered an incarnation of Krishna, and his philosophy is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Later on, another Kapila became famous, but his philosophy was atheistic. Thus, there is a gulf of difference between them. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. So apparently Citraratha, he's a good friend of Arjuna. And he, if I remember right, he actually, I think it was when Arjuna was cursed to be eunuch by, who was he cursed by? Vasuki, was it? He was cursed. And then he took on the name of Brihatnala.
Yeah.
And he was taught how to sing. So that was Citraratha. It's mentioned as a good friend of Arjuna, if I've got that right. Yeah. And we've all heard of Narada Muni. Of course, he comes up again and again. He's got many, many disciples all over the universes. So he's also born of, well, there's a whole story behind Narada, isn't it? He has different manifestations. Yes. And Kapila, I guess we're not exposed so much to the atheist Kapila because we have the Srimad Bhagavatam. But it's very prominent in Indian philosophical discourse on these Sat Darshans, for example. You know, there's these Sat Darshans, or the 6 interpretations of a Veda. Yep. And one of them is Shankhya. And that Shankhya is coming from this Kapila. Whose conclusion is actually Nashtika, which means it goes against the conclusion of Veda, actually, but Shankhya. So in other words, there is no creator. Everything is just a combination of atoms. So that's materialistic philosophy. Yeah, interesting. The Lord appeared with the same name. I think it was before this Kapila. I'm quite sure that before this. So this Kapila is known as an imposter Kapila. But still, the details of the Shankhya is very similar. The Shankhya that's discussed there is very similar, but the conclusion, but there's no, in Kapila here, there's no concept of a deity. Yeah, but this Kapila Devahuti is different. Yeah. Which canto is this described in? Scholars of Bhagavatam.
3.
Third canto, yeah. One, if you've got the inclination, it's really wonderful to read and sit down and take notes and try to understand it step by step. You know, one of the advantages of doing this Shankya is you will feel a sense of detachment from looking at the universe from an objective point of view and the senses and the body. That's called Shankya. So he's you also, banyan tree. There's no banyan trees here in the UK. We're all familiar with banyan tree. Yeah, I think banyan trees are also not in India. Where else are they? Asia? Are they found in Asia?
I don't know.
Philippines also, yeah, that size.
Really, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so really, it's used in the Bhagavatam as an example. I think it's in the 5th chapter, but it is very auspicious. There's one beautiful banyan tree in the courtyard of the brahmachari ashrams in Mayapur. Great big, beautiful, with a beautiful base around it. And someone, of course, generally people will put a Shiva Linga there, yeah, because that's where Lord Shiva resides. So the highest and most beautiful tree, right? More beautiful than the oak tree. Sorry if you come from Europe and think the oak tree is the best. The banyan tree. So this is representative of Krishna. I think it's mentioned in the Nectar devotion that you should worship the banyan tree as a representative of the vibhuti of Krishna. It's mentioned there. Nectar of devotion. Okay, any curiosities here? The Gandharvas, we mentioned them. These beings, the specially creator or created to sing the glories of the Lord. We mentioned that yesterday. Okay, so let's have a look at read text 27. Someone like to read text 27?
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. See if we get this pronunciation right of this horse. Go
My
on.
God. Uccaihsrava asvanam vidimam to bhavam Airavatam Kadindranam Naranam cha Naradipam. Sorry. Of horses know me to be Uccaihsrava. Is that right, Prabhu? Produced during the turning of the ocean of nectar of lordly elephants. I am Airavata, and among men, I am the monarch. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Sounds like you have a bit of a sickness there, Mother. You okay to read? Sure.
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I think it's hay fever.
No, I know it well. Go ahead.
Yeah. The devotee demigods and the demons, asuras, once took part in churning the sea. From this churning, nectar and poison were produced, and Lord Shiva drank the poison. From the nectar were produced many entities, of which there was a horse named Uccaihsrava. Another animal produced from the nectar was an elephant named Airavata. Because these two animals were produced from nectar, they have special significance, and they are representatives of Krishna. Among other human beings, the king is the representative of Krishna because Krishna is the maintainer of the universe, and the kings who are appointed on account of their godly qualifications are maintenance of their kingdoms. Kings like Maharaj Yudhishthira, Maharaj Parikshit, and Lord Rama were all highly righteous kings who always thought of the citizens' welfare. In Vedic literature, the king is considered to be the representative of God. In this age, however, with the corruption of the principles of religion, monarchy decayed and is now finally abolished. It is to be understood that in the past, however, people were more happy under righteous kings. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhupada.
No, thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah, people were more happy under righteous kings. Yeah, so these kings always is mentioned here for of the welfare of the citizens. So they're representing Krishna.
But
Okay,
but
any
this
other?
the horse is this picture famous when gives the scriptures. I know a picture with a horse.
There's, I think there's Hayagriva.
Or Hayagriva maybe is correct.
Hayagriva, if I'm not mistaken, is an incarnation of Krishna. Hayav is something what he's, you can give more detail, and he spoke Veda. I can't think of any more details. But
Yeah, Madhu and Kaitaba stole the Vedas, and Lord took the form of
Okay, go on.
Hayagriva and retrieved the Vedas and gave it back to Brahma.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Mabusachara. Yes.
One, thank you.
Yeah, so quite some fantastic events go on in the universe. Like even here, the chanting, not the chanting, the churning. Prabhupada says churning of the sea. But unless I'm mistaken, it was a churning of the milk ocean. Yeah. And then Prabhupada says from this churning, nectar and poison were produced. But then later he says, because these personalities came from the nectar, they were the nectar part. It's considered to represent Krishna. Airavata, we know that's the carrier of who? He carries who? Which demigod?
Indra.
Indra, Airavata. Yeah.
Prabhu, can I ask you something? So
Yes.
Lord Shiva drank poison twice, that means, yeah?
Twice.
Yeah,
No.
because here sea and the milk ocean also, isn't it? No?
No, that's what I'm saying. Prabhupada has used a general term here. He's just said sea, but actually it was a sea of milk. It was the
Yeah,
milk ocean.
okay.
So
Yeah.
sometimes he does that. He gives he doesn't
Okay.
give detail, but like we know from reading Bhagavatam, that means the ocean of milk.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, where Lord produced and Lord Shiva drank the poison. Yes. Okay, people are much happy under righteous kings. Yeah. But job to find such a righteous one person, a powerful person to lead the world or to lead a country. Yeah. It's free of all. He's someone who's righteous. Difficult in Kali Yuga. All right. Any other curiosities here? These are kings from Bhagavatam that we know of. Maharaj Yudhishthira, Maharaj Parikshit, Lord Ram. Which other kings from Bhagavatam? Any leaders from Bhagavatam we can think of? Prithu Maharaj is one.
Dhruva Maharaj.
Who? Say again.
Dhruva.
Dhruva Maharaj. Yeah, thank you, Mabuluda. Dhruva. Yeah, we mentioned him as well recently. He became angry as a king because his brother was killed. But Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, also became a ruler. Yeah. So even now, even you could say even we should give respect to someone who's in that position, even though there may not be a Vedic king. I think Prabhupada said words to that effect. They're there, like the Queen of England, or she's passed away now. Then one would naturally be respectful. I try to be respectful. Now we have a King of England. I don't know. We have different leaders in different countries, and for good or for bad, they're there. It could be quite a discussion. some leaders we have in the world. Are they there because of pious acts, or are they there because of impious acts? Whatever, they're in a position of autonomy. They're in a position of leadership. So from that perspective, we should understand that Krishna has given them that position. Now, what they do with it is something else. They may abuse that position, but the fact that one is given that position, it seems to, one should be respectful. Yeah, even if you don't agree with their policies. Yeah. So you may keep your respect may be distant, but they're not ordinary people. Of course, some of them might be out and outright demons, but that's a whole discussion. Sorry, I keep cutting someone off. Ravana, yeah. He was more the impious. Ravan, he was impious because he wanted stole Sita. Ravan. Yeah.
So what's happening with those souls which they were kings? Are they gonna born in again and be normal beings, or they gonna maybe be elevated more? Let's say if they were pious.
You'll have to speak of each individual king and look at their life. I know in Bhagavatam it said that the king takes 1/6 of all the sinful activities of the kingdom. So that's quite a lot, considering that people are addicted to all types of sinful activities in the age of Kali. But their destination very much depends on what they do with that position. But still, main point is that, these Vedic kings, they are indicative of Krishna. And Prithu Maharaj was actually a incarnation of Krishna, Shakti Vaishya, Prithu Maharaj. Yeah. So again, this is all representing the power, and anyone who has any power of attorney, anything, it's all getting it. The grace and the power of that is coming from Krishna. So they represent Krishna. Vibhutis. Yeah. Right.
Prabhu, is this again? I was just thinking, those days the people are also pious. That's why they get pious kings. So it's our mistake also that we don't have good rulers. Yeah.
He could say that. Yeah, I mean,
this is what in this material world, not the spiritual world, this is what we deserve. That's why we get it, because that's why we look for. And I think there was something he said, it's very important that we should vote, use the vote in a very spiritual way, vote for the right people. Otherwise we have a problem. Is that right, Prabhu?
Yeah, there might be a bit of a discussion amongst devotees whether we vote. For instance, funny you should say that. About half an hour ago, I got a letter through the postbox, and it said in the black letters, "Don't ignore this letter."
Yeah.
Letter. And I just tore it in half and put it straight in the bin. Now,
I think that was your. That must have been your polling letter, like your voting.
Yeah, it was.
Thing.
No,
Polling
I
percentage.
have a doubt here. You don't watch the news. You don't know the person properly.
Yeah.
So how are you going to vote to a person like who you don't know at all?
We already
What
voted.
is your
We
vote?
vote. We have
Yeah,
voted already.
Yeah, that's what we're kind of saying. It's very doubtful that whoever is candidate is going to is going to implement what we would like to implement as far as governing a society based on God conscious principles. I mean, some persons may be more favorable to the Krishna consciousness movement. So in that sense, one may be inclined to vote for them, even if they're not completely fit into the category of a Raja Rishi.
Mm.
I know devotees are quite in India, they're quite supportive without going to the whole political thing of Modi, excuse me. Excuse my
Yeah.
pronunciation. But he seems to be more inclined to dharmic principles, at least it seems. He's introducing some things which are quite in line to some degree. Yeah. But generally as we go on in Kali Yuga, then more and more the kings and the leaders are going to be nothing but thieves and rogues. Yeah, nothing but thieves and rogues. Especially we do see that in some countries, literally thieves and rogues. Steal tax people to death. And it's mentioned in Bhagavatam that it would be so much oppression coming from such leaders, some so-called leaders who are no more than the lowest of the low, that people will take to the mountains, and kind of somehow or another take care of them, like that. So things are not going to get better. So we do see there are sometimes we see some leaders who are actually, I won't mention it, perhaps I'm getting a bit too not political here, but there's one country in South America. What's that country? Venezuela. And I forget his name, but he's revolutionary. He's He's created a complete transformation of that country.
Yeah.
And done that. He's put every gang member in prison for life without any trial. Nothing. Anyone who's got tattoos of these gang members, he's got 3,000 of them are just in prison with no chance of parole. So quite strict. Now he did that. Sorry, we're going off. I try to keep it short. He did that because practically hundreds and hundreds of people were being shot and killed every day. Drug wars. So he just. Now, what was the point that's interesting about him is because he was describing, I was watching an interview with him, because he's a God-conscious person. And they was having a meeting about what to do, because their country was the highest murder rate in the whole world. Like 20 people being murdered every hour in a small country. So what he did, so he's being interviewed, and he described, well, what can we do? What was we going to do? We was up in the middle of the night, and what did we do? We prayed. Said he prayed to God. He prayed to God for the ways and the means forward in this dark hour of his country. And now now in this country, the children can play in the playground again. All the social, all people are beginning to go shopping without no fear again. Enterprises are opening up without being harassed by gangs to pay them money. And everyone loves him, except the guys in prison, of course. Anyway, so there's an example, one person, some ray of hope, one person who is God-fearing. And he's really God-fearing. There's some leaders claim to be God-fearing just to get the votes, But this person he is, I forget his name. So anyway, off the track a little bit, but Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna. Any other comments on this or that? Or yeah. Must be nice to live under such a Vedic king, you know, a Raja Rishi. And you can read about the reign of Maharaj Yudhisthira in the Srimad Bhagavatam. To describe, because he was the leader, then all the earth supplied all the necessities of man in profusion. There was gold, there was jewels, and the ocean supplied the jewels, and the mountains supplied all the herbs and the drugs that was needed. And it's also described that the cows would moisten the grazing ground with milk because of their happy disposition. So everything. So when there's a God-conscious leader, then it has an effect on the natural resources. Everything is supplied in abundance. But when there's not, then everything is not abundantly supplied and people struggle, you know. But there's nice verses in the Bhagavatam that describe about the reign of Maharaj Yudhisthira. Describe that the clouds poured forth all the water that people needed. No more, no less. And it never rained at night as well. No, sorry, it never rained in the day, excuse me. It never rained in the day, only rained at night. Like that, so we shouldn't underestimate the responsibility of such kings. If they are irreligious, then the people will be irreligious, and everything will be a struggle. Anyway, in Kali Yuga, generally these leaders will get worse, you know. So we need a Krishna conscious leader. We need a powerful Krishna conscious king. Any volunteers out there? Or queen?
You said king. There's only you and Madhu Mangal.
Okay, Mother, we got the job. We got the. Okay, I'm trying to find my cursor. It's disappeared. It's gone away. All right. So just remember, these persons represent Krishna, the good ones. Okay. Right. Let's read the next verse, text 1028. Something's gone wrong with my. Okay, one second. Okay, I'm going to jump in and have a read. Text 28, is that right? Yes, 28. Text 29. Yes, sorry, keep going, but one day, hopefully, there will be a Krishna conscious leader. Hopefully, one day, one country. You know, hope there to be a God-fearing Krishna conscious leader. You know? We wait for that day. Okay. Ayodanam aham vajram denunam ashmikamutuk pajanas chashmi Kandarpa sapanam ashmi Vasuki. So, translation of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am the surabhi. Of causes for procreation, I am Kandarpa, the god of love. And of serpents, I am Vasuki. So, purple. The thunderbolt, indeed, a mighty weapon, represents Krishna's power. In Krishna Loka, in the spiritual sky, there are cows which can be milked at any time. And they give as much milk as one likes. Of course, such cows do not exist in this material world, but there is mention of them in Krishna Loka. The Lord keeps many such cows, which are called surabhi. It is stated that the Lord is engaged in herding the surabhi cows. Kandarpa is a sex desire for presenting good sons. Therefore, Kandarpa is the representative of Krishna. Sometimes sex is engaged in only for sense gratification. Oh, sometimes. Such sex does not represent Krishna, but sex for the generation of good children is called Kandarpa and represents Krishna. As elsewhere, Krishna says, I'm sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. Okay. So any comments or questions here about this?
So without,
Sorry?
I'm jumping here at the last part which you were saying. So if we don't prepare ourselves, let's say when we want a child, that's no, if we don't follow what Srila Prabhupada said to chant 64 rounds, and then it's just pleasure.
Yeah. Garbha samskara. Garbha, what's it called? Yeah, there is a samskara. Yeah, Prabhupada gave directions, you know, and he gave directions in that regard. Yeah. I remember one time, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but one time a few years ago, this Indian girl, perhaps about 25, something like that, she wanted to speak with me. She was quite intent on speaking with me. And because I was the head priest, she wanted to speak to the head priest. Okay. And then her husband was there. And she came, and as they came into the temple room, they came and they both bowed down at my feet. They gave me gifts. Then I asked for blessings for doing Garbhadan. You know, they come for blessings before they producing children. They came for blessings. And that's what, that's generally, Vedically, that's how it's done. It's seen as a great function for bringing God-conscious children into the world. So it was nice to see that they were so pious and actually meant it. They really felt it was like, wow, this is quite amazing. So they came for blessings before trying to beget children. Yeah. And then a few weeks later, one devotee, he came and asked for blessings for the same thing. But he had already had the children. So I said, man, you're supposed to ask me blessings before, not after. He came to ask for blessings after. No, he's supposed to ask for blessings before. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, and there's a whole science behind that. If the Garbhadan is done, then it can make life a lot easier for everyone, for the family, for the children, etc. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Any other questions on this? Surabhi cows. Any more glories of the Surabhi cow?
It is when Lord Indra offended Krishna at Govardhan, and then Surabhi cow, Lord Indra, I think, went to Lord Brahma and asked him what to do, and he advised him or something like that, and then he had to go with Surabhi cow. She was in the front, and then he was coming after. Yeah, correct? Or there nearby?
Yeah, because Surabhi induces Krishna's soft mercy, Surabhi. So Indra tactfully brought Surabhi to, just in case it would get too much heat from Krishna. So Surabhi cow.
Did you see the police in Surrey? They rammed a calf, like a young cow. It's all over the news. They rammed a cow got loose from the pen, from the field, and it was wandering around in Staines in Surrey, and the police were called, like, to round it up. And there's a video of the police like ramming the cow with the car. It was like awful, really terrible.
Well, hopefully there's outcry about that.
There is outcry. The police in question has been suspended, and there's a big, I mean, it's all over the news, the media. But because I got a thing on WhatsApp asking me to sign a petition, like one of our devotee groups asking me to sign a petition to get the police officers sacked.
Well,
Because
should.
for like cruelty to animals.
Well,
Anyway,
obviously they killed the calf. Was it killed?
no, actually, it was a miracle. The calf is okay, even though he rammed him like several times. The calf is like seemingly okay. Yeah, it's okay. I saw a video of the calf. I was like worried about it as well, but the calf has survived quite well. I mean, a few minor cuts and bruises and things, but yeah, that's what happened. There's a big outcry in social media about the police who did it because it was so horrible.
Just see, yeah. So also at the manor a few years ago, if you remember that outrage where one of some vet that came to see the ailing, aged cow, and without permission, without knowing, he just euthanized the cow. He just killed it with an injection. Back down the mouth. Remember, we did massive protests for that. We was protesting outside the Houses of Parliament. And obviously they don't understand the principle of cow protection as representative of surabhi. Anyway, what the RSPCA, who were responsible, did, the Royal Society for Protection of Animals, is that they gifted a cow with 2 newborn calves sometime later, try to pacify the outraged Hindu community. Like that. Anyway, so surabhi may not be exactly surabhi cows here, but still they're cows and they're very dear to Krishna. They're so innocent. They give so much, and they're so innocent animals. They have no way of protecting themselves, so it's up to others to protect them. So surabhi represents Krishna. All right. Anything else we can bring out from here? Anyone? Thunderbolts okay with cows and surabhi, japa, god of love, of serpents, and Vasuki. Yeah. Cupid, also known as Cupid, could we say Kandarpa? There's a material Cupid, and then there's Krishna, who is a transcendental Cupid who attracts our purified senses. Yeah, that's the transcendental Cupid. Yeah, Kamadev. Yeah, that's what we want to be attracted to. Yeah, we want to be spontaneously attracted to Krishna. Yeah. All right. Let's read text 29 as well. These are relatively short purports. Someone like to read this? Text 29.
Yeah, I can read.
Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Anantas jasmi naganam varunopayada samaham pritinam aryama jasmi yamasam yamatamaham.
You got it? Yes.
Yeah. Well, it needs to be over a bit because I've got it's. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Well, it loads slow. I think it loads a bit slow. Yeah, the internet's a bit slow today. It's loading slower.
Of the many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta, and among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors, I am Aryama, and among the dispensers of law, I am Yama, the Lord of Death. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Among the many-hooded Naga serpents, Ananta is the greatest, as is the demigod Varuna among the aquatics. They both represent Krishna. There is also a planet of Pitas, ancestors, presided over by Aryama, who represents Krishna. There are many living entities who give punishment to the miscreants, and among them Yama is the chief. Yama is situated in a planet near this earthly planet. After death, those who are very sinful are taken there and Yama arranges different kinds of punishments for them.
Okay. Right, look out for Yamaraj. You don't, as you know, devotees don't have to worry. Hopefully that's been given in Srimad Bhagavatam. What's the pastime where that gets mentioned? To never touch the devotees?
That is
Jamil? Ajamil?
Ajamil, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and the Yamadutas and the Vishnu Dutas are having a discussion. Yeah, and then the Yamadutas have never seen anyone more powerful than their Yamaraj. So then they meet the Vishnu Dutas, you know. And then and then they go to Yamaraj, and they've got a few questions to ask him, the Yamadutas. So it's quite wonderful, that part of Bhagavatam. As soon as they start speaking about the Vishnu Dutas, then Yamaraj goes into ecstasy. Yeah. Then he explains his position in relationship to Vishnu. And then he says, don't you ever, ever go near Vaishnavas. Yeah. And he says, yeah, those who are devotees. But any questions on this? Quite mystical. Yamaraj, like Krishna, his consciousness is spread everywhere. Yeah, same as Brahma. Yeah, it's not only Krishna who has omnipresent consciousness. Other great devas do as well. So obviously Yama needs that. People are dying everywhere, not just in this universe, but in different planets and different types of universes. How exactly it works and takes place and going to Yamaloka, it's described in the Garuda Purana, if one wants more detail. Yes, sorry, Marvin Lavanga.
I was just going to say, it says there are many living entities who give punishment to the miscreants, and among them Yama is the chief. So these many living entities, would they be like our earthly, like judges, or our earthly policemen or government?
It could do. I tend to think it might be the Yamadutas, and the chief of the Yamadutas is
just Yama and his entourage kind of thing.
Yeah.
His people. Okay, the Yamadutas.
That's what I would say, unless and other devotees have an opinion on that. You could stretch it.
Also, Lord Yamaraj knows everything because he needs to know how he can judge them past, present, and future. So he knows everything about everyone.
Well, yeah.
So these living entities.
It's a super soul that it's a super soul that tells Yamaraj, yeah, he's empowered by the super soul to see through people and to understand their past. Yeah.
So these many living entities would be entities administering like divine justice kind of thing.
Divine. This in the fifth canto it's described, the different
Other
types.
than material justice, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
punishment. So in other words, there is we are responsible for one's activities. So one may get away with a crime or some vicious activity on the material, on this plane, but no, there's the universal eye of justice doesn't miss anyone. So then they will get handed over to Yamaraj. And it's interesting, this potency of that Yama has to see a person's life past. I've been listening recently to Prabhupada memories again, and more or less, without fail, every single devotee, when they describe their first meeting with Prabhupada, I think you know what's coming. And when Prabhupada glances at them, and looks at them. What do they say? Anyone know what they all say?
He looked into my
So-
soul.
Yeah. Every single devotee had the same experience. It's like he looked right into their past, could see exactly who they are, exactly what they've done, and they would feel very small and very kind of naked in front of that powerful glance. But at the same time, Prabhupada would exhibit motherly care and love, where they felt, despite what they'd done, they would felt he had that love and affection for them. Was it? If you watch Prabhupada memories, because the first question they asked, generally, they asked, what was your first meeting with Prabhupada? And so everyone has the same experience. Quite powerful, you know. So Prabhupada, like that, he's such empowered by the super soul, such purity that he can see right through, see your lifetimes. You know, devotees would get quite unnerved. It could be one glance for 2 seconds. So in that way, I'm just kind of extrapolating on that. As so Yamaraj, he has that vision. You can see, can look through there's some persons who have that ability, they have that psychic ability to just by looking at the physiognomy, if I pronounce that wrong, looking at a person, they can see their past, but not like Krishna or Yamaraj, but they can get some understanding. So anyway, so that's Yamaraj. Yeah. And who did he come as? Yamaraj gave up his duty as Yamaraj and became
Varuna.
Vidura.
Yudhishthira.
Vidura.
Vidura. Vidura. There's a whole story behind that as well. He became Vidura. Whether Vidura was conscious he was Yama, I'm not sure. Perhaps he wasn't, I don't know. But Vidura, who's very, very, very intelligent, you know, gave wonderful advice to others and tried to give advice to the blind king much, you know, but he wouldn't listen. So anyway, so we have the Nagas, Ananta, the aquatics, Varuna, Aryama. Yeah. Anyone know about Aryama? Sahachari, you know something here? No, Aryama. I'm not sure how that works. So the ancestors, but anyway, it's described. He's the chief of the ancestors, which then what's it called? That's Shraddha ceremony is aimed at the Pitas. All right, let's read text 30 as well.
Murli Prabhu, I have a question with the Pitras.
Yeah, how is it? Go on.
So where this Pitras is where the ancestors, so the Pitralok is where the ancestors are.
Yes, yes.
So my question is, so for example, your ancestors, but people would have moved on eventually, isn't it? So how will they just remain there? Say, you know, even like, for example, any of us pass on, we will immediately take on another body. Will we stay eternally in the Pitraloka? They will move on to another body, another soul, either in an animal or a human being or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question that I also have as well. That's why I kind of hesitated on that. I was asking Airavata because I'm a bit confused about how that actually works. It'd be good to find out because, like, who is like I was born in Bangladesh. I mean, who is my ancestor? You know.
And do they remain forever there? They might have moved on to become other beings.
I don't think they remain
Yeah,
there.
generally, yeah, as generally without finding out exactly, I think it's as modern Mongol Guru is saying that these are positions. Yamaraj is a position, Indra is a position, Aryama is a position. It's a post. Lord Brahma is a post which different jivas will occupy for some time. That is generally that's generally how it is arranged. So I should think it's the same here. I think it's the same, which means I'm not exactly sure, but I would think it's the same. So we need someone who knows about it.
The
Where it
head is
says-
a post. The head is a post. Like Brahma is a head. Like, you know, Yamaraj is the head of things. So that is a post. But
Yeah,
your
that's the post.
Pitraloka, and the people who are residing, your ancestors in Pitraloka, is not a post. It's they are there because they've left this body from this earth, and then they are residing there.
They say a member of family, let's say if it's getting liberated, I don't know, 7 generation or 21
Yeah.
generation will be liberated. So
Yeah.
let's say if you get liberated, then also you're gonna help those generation to give them a chance to come out and take another body. Some of them, they don't have bodies anymore because they're trapped in Pitraloka. But then if you liberated, then you will help them to get a body and then get back in the cycle without being regenerated, or how you call this.
Yeah, but my question is, I got
Mhm.
that. My question is, will they just stay there eternally? Okay, I come in and then maybe, you know, okay, or somebody else does. But what if I don't? Then they're staying there forever? Surely they would have moved on. Like, for example, if I die, yes, I might go to the ancestors' Pitraloka, but for only for some time. And then I will come because of my desire to be a devotee or something. I'll come back again to a devotee. I won't stay in the Pitraloka forever.
Yeah, especially if you get a Shraddha, especially if your sons do Shraddha ceremony aimed at Krishna, then you get blessed. But I think, that question, I don't know the answer, I'm afraid. For more details, we can only offer some philosophical speculations. Perhaps it might be in the Garuda Purana. Devotees who do some skadas or do things like that, perhaps then they might know more about this detail. But perhaps it's Krishna wants us to understand it and find out. So perhaps we can do a little, perhaps together, we can do a little research on it and come back next week, shall we?
Goranga Prabhu has few classes about this.
All right.
Yes, he was
So
talking about.
So why don't you scan those classes, Madhu Mangalbhum, and come back with some conclusions.
Okay.
So the question is the some mistake, is the Prithvis, is that an eternal position that they stay there, the ancestors of all the different dynasties of all the universes? Is that a permanent position for these ancestors of all the different dynasties? Or is it that they, like everyone else, stay and then either become elevated or through bad association may come down again and lose that post? Yeah. Is that the question, Madhusudami Radhika?
Yeah, I mean more than a post. Even I'm not even thinking about post. So Pitralok is where the ancestors stay. Full stop. So that's very clear. That's where they go. That is why we do Shraddha and all of them, so that they can move on. That is also
Oh,
clear.
that
But
they
then,
can move on.
But
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the leader,
One second, let her finish. Yes, go ahead.
no, the leader, I have no issue. Leader is fine. Leader is a post, and that is fine. They have taken that as a service on them. So I'm okay with the fact that the leader of Pitra, what you mentioned just now, the name, what was the name?
Airavata. It's in
yeah.
the
Yeah. So I'm okay with that person being in that post for that as a service, similar to Yamaraj and all. But the people who are living in the ancestors, the Pitras, that is, say
Oh,
for
yeah,
example, be more specific, say my example, my ancestors, they're all there, right? And we are doing Shraddha and all of those different things to liberate them or alleviate there so that they move on to higher planets or whatever. Now, my question is, surely they will move on. Say, like,
they will, yeah.
yeah, they won't stay there forever. So,
It
No,
says
yeah.
here,
I
I
think,
find something.
yeah.
I find something here.
They go
Yeah.
on, Madhu Mangal.
So it says Pitris are divine beings who live in Pitraloka. There are 60,000 of them. Yama is the leader of Pitris. When people who don't have done lots of good work die, they go to Pitraloka and enjoy there for a long time. They are reborn again on earth after the merit is exhausted. Not everyone is reborn at the same time. There will always be people living there temporary. These Pitris remain in Pitruloka. I think you mean that's what it says. Yeah.
Makes sense now.
Yeah.
So at least some of them, one or two, because if they've done some good thing, even if one of them, if the ancestors stay, they're still staying, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, so it sounds like it's a heavenly realm as well.
Heavenly realm. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Google.
Yeah. And it says also what if you in Bhagavad Gita, if you pay to Pitris, you go to Pitris. So if you pray to demigods, you go to the demigods. So I'm looking to orthodoxy. I look to our culture, Orthodox culture. When our parents, they go and they light candles and they give free food for the dead. Then they will all go to Pitruloka. They're not gonna go to Krishna Loka.
No, they're not. That's another thing, isn't it? And that's why among devotees, Shraddha and other things are not carried on so much.
Yeah, well, we
Because
do.
we don't need-
We do it in a non-fruitive way, where we give people prashadam, and we pray. You know, so we worship the Lord. You know, so hopefully it give them, it will purify them for going ultimately given for having a chance to take up devotional service. And so we feed the Vaishnavas. That's how Prabhupada directed that we should do that. Feed the Vaishnavas, you know.
So Murli Prabhu,
Okay, so
yeah.
go on. Now go on. I think we got the answer
Right,
there.
we got the answer. To paraphrase, to understand that is basically, yes, they do go there. So ancestors will be there, but not all of them. Some of them would have moved on. Some of them would have, gone below or above. But at least one of them will be there, and hence it's the Pitralok, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
our conclusion. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay, we got to the bottom of it. Hare Krishna, great. All right, let's hold that, and we got up to text 30. So next Tuesday we'll continue looking at this first. Okay, Hare Krishna. So thank you again
Hare
once
Krishna,
for-
thank you.
for this wonderful
His Grace Murli
hour.
Manohar
Murli
Prabhu
Manohar
ki
Prabhu
jai.
ki jai.
You do it so much.
Tomorrow we have
you.
to meet a
Hare
band. Please
Krishna.
join us.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare
Tomorrow.
Hare,
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.